Hello there, fruit baskets, and welcome back to another episode of the Vampyr. Well, in the last episode, we did some pretty interesting things, and I was going back to the hospital, and I found this little space here. On this body, I found this amazing letter. Uh, Holy symbols and orichalcum. Another interesting letter about vampire's weaknesses, saying that if you have enough faith, even a common olive branch can help us. Can help a man defending himself against vampires. That talking about Atlantis and how they used orichalcum, I think that's how you say it, to defeat vampires. Hello. How are you doing, sir? Having a good night? Have a rest. There you go, just rest a little bit. Nothing to worry about. Ooh, trigger. Brisky blood sample. Is this like a hideout or something? Doesn't seem like it. Oh, where are we going? Oh, a new hideout. Oh. We have extra serums, that's nice.
I cannot enter.
It doesn't open from this side. We can rest on the bed, but we don't have many things to upgrade. And... oh, I remember this place. We couldn't open it before. So... there's a boyo on the other side. Here's the thing. Ooh, let's go. Stamina serum increases the stamina regeneration. Ooh, it's like better. Sure. It's not what I wanted. I wanted help creating the...
This is no place for a gentleman.
It's locked, all right.
Sir, step away now.
Who the fuck you thinking you're talking to? I'll slap the living shit out of you, young man. Boom, blood spear. Little bite to get our HP back. And let's finish him off with the blood spear. There we go. Ooh, combat. Combat keeps getting better and better. Just unlocking new skill, getting stronger. Enemies don't scale to your level. I mean, they stay the same level depending on the area you are. And if you go to a higher level area, they will just find themselves harder there. But, you know, it will be good. Ooh, is this like a sewer? Can we open this? We unlock it. Where are we? Oh, we're close to the... oh, I remember this place. What the fuck do you want? You guys remember this place? I think I do. Holy freeze. Sometimes they are on the... into the river, no one will ever know. Just walk casually.
Sorry, sir. No admittance.
Yeah, it's fine.
Don't come closer, sir.
I don't want to keep fighting everyone that I find. Well, I mean, I wouldn't mind, but it takes a little time, and I want to keep the videos short and nice, and I want to keep giving them some, you know, some objectives. I complete some stuff. Yeah. How are you doing?
Good evening.
Good evening, Doctor.
Goodbye for now.
You're not well now? Jesus. There's been a few days now. What the fuck? The fuck just happened? Who died? The hell? What the hell?
My sincere condolences for your loss.
Your kindness is much appreciated, my lady.
Is there anything you require?
Seal will...
Are we condemned to attend the funerals of all we love?
Dying is the final act of life, Jonathan. Present company excluded. Accepted.
No, right.
I don't know what to expect. Am I cursed to an eternity of solitude?
With time, we Ekon tend to go into isolation. If we survive long enough, that is.
As a practitioner of the medical sciences, I'm prepared for the death of loved ones. But mourning in the shadows, deprived of sharing one's grief.
We are no longer a part of the circle of life and death. We are undead, my friend, and so we are outcasts.
I spied my mother at the funeral. Have you ever revealed yourself to a member of your family?
No, Jonathan. And I'd advise you even from thinking about it.
But what if I was close to someone and wished to tell them the truth?
Fear, loathing, disgust. And then they will plead to be turned. They will see it as salvation. Then there's the risk of gaining the attention of vampire hunters.
Are we then condemned to lie to those we love?
We are creatures of deception, my friend. But this is more for their sake than ours.
Goodbye, my lady. Until we meet again.
I would still want to know what the fuck just happened and why is there blood everywhere. Oh, this is the lady. You know.
Why the Gothics came here in the first place.
Yeah, this bitch. The basic bitch. What the fuck happened?
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening.
Why does...
Nurse Hawkins.
Why is there like blood on the floor and no one tells me anything? Vampire lady, what the hell is
Good
happening?
evening, Miss
I
Hawkins.
need blood, doctor.
No one tells me nothing. What the hell is going on? Jesus, help me. Where are you, Jesus? Give me insight on these fools. Swansea, what the fuck is happening to your hospital, man? Who the fuck is that? Is that a cheap version of me?
God protect us. You've got a leech in the hospital.
Yes, my hospital. My mission is to heal while you go about warring.
You've set the table for a snake. I wonder why there's venom in your food.
I'm growing tired of your song. You're a woodsman, McCallum, not a doctor. Return to your hunt.
Remember, I've a good nose for machinations. I can flare the scent at a mile. You can't hide from the guard.
Leave him, Jonathan.
Okay.
This is sacred ground. Neutral territory. And I just had the carpet cleaned.
You heard that, you piece of shit.
By the sacred
I don't even
stone,
look
this
like
is
a
very
vampire.
bad news. Bad news indeed.
I guess people on average just consume everyone. And
What
they
happened?
look
The
more
hospital
like
has been
vampires
attacked.
when we do, I guess.
We have injured patients, at least one dead and several missing. This has spiraled out of control. Even the most infirm are asking to be allowed to return home.
Confidence must be
We
restored.
cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient.
I'll help you, friend.
Who is he?
She, Jonathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones. I found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of the mess.
I'll help you.
Very
my
well.
friend.
I'll help you.
I know this place means something to you. I have noticed how you suppress your appetite when around the staff and patients.
You need to know you can trust me, Edgar.
I do, dear fellow, I do.
Please then, tell me.
Sean Hampton, the man we thought we'd saved at the docks. It seems he was infected after all.
So Hampton
Really?
became more beast than man.
Exactly. And now Guard of Prewen suspects the hospital of vampire activity.
They already
Do
did.
you realize what that could mean for us?
You're not far wrong. I'll protect
Rest
you, friend.
assured, I will protect you and your staff.
McCullum is a fanatic. The Guard will stop at nothing. You don't know what they're capable of, Jonathan.
Very well.
But I am not.
Since I brought Mr. Hampton here, I will put an end to this.
And just leave the fucking room.
Sean Hampton lives and breathes for the well-being of his flock. There's no other place he would go but the docks. Good evening, nurse.
Good evening, Doc.
What can you tell me about the recent events in the hospital?
That Mr. Hampton killed Miss Jones in her room, then ran away.
And did you see all this?
No, I was working by the tents when it all happened. I only entered the room when they asked me to clean up the blood.
Where is Miss Jones's body?
I don't know. I'd imagine the morgue. It all happened so quickly.
Did you see Sean Hampton leave the hospital?
I think I saw a silhouette exiting the hospital gates after the shouting started. At first I thought it was someone who was just scared, but well, maybe it was him.
Yeah,
Goodbye, nurse.
that's a lot of...
Good evening, Miss.
Evening.
Can you tell me anything about recent events at the hospital?
Before the shouts and the noises, I think I heard whispers coming from the stairs. 2 voices, maybe more.
Did you recognize the voices? What did they say?
I couldn't hear. Sounded like they were arguing or something.
Goodbye for now, Miss.
Oh,
Good
got a
evening,
new,
Miss Howcroft.
new
How
problems.
are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
Is there anything you can tell me about the recent commotion here?
Many things can happen under cover of night, Dr. Reid. But I took no part in this massacre.
But did you see or...
I can't say I did. But the smell of fresh blood almost made me faint, Doctor.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
What your last thoughts would be, sir. It's here again.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reid.
She's so cute, yeah.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Everybody's afraid. Death has always been a frequent visitor. But murder? How can we cope with that?
As a nurse at this hospital, it is your duty to deal with these things as best you can.
Yeah. Until it's my turn to have blood spread all over the walls. I entered the room first, Dr. Reid. I've seen what that monster did to the woman.
Goodbye, Nurse
Jesus.
Hawkins.
Anyone else missing?
So many deaths.
One thing that I have...
It's locked.
Oh, it's locked. Do the doctors know anything? Who's screaming for help? Didn't you guys heard someone asking for help?
Good evening, Dr. Reid. Such a... Can you tell me anything?
Oh, goodness me. This whole story is such a shame, sir. I have no idea how it happened.
What are you talking about?
Poor Miss Jones. Her body is missing. Someone stole it.
Her body is missing?
Miss Jones's body has gone missing.
Yes. The body was brought here this morning. And now it's gone.
Who could have stolen a corpse?
That's exactly what I asked myself for the whole day. Who could do such a thing? These are terrible and shameful times, Dr. Reid.
You steal from the corpses? What's the difference? I mean, it's a little different stealing a pocket watch from stealing a whole corpse, but you know. Don't you be an hypocrite on me. And you're supposed to be watching the corpses, you fool.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reid.
Please, tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital.
I heard Miss Jones call for help from her bedroom. There were some loud noises, like people fighting. All of a sudden, it went quiet. And then a nurse started screaming.
Do you know who the nurse was?
Not sure, but I think it was Nurse Hawkins.
Goodbye for now, Mr.
Nice, sweet girl. Reads me like...
Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Goswick.
I'm okay.
About your
Your medical report says you're not affected by the Spanish flu. What do you think of that, Mortimer?
Does it make me happy? Not in the slightest. If it was up to me, I would have left this place long ago. I know I don't belong here.
And why do you think you don't belong here?
I know the staff have more important things to do than look after me. There's plenty of patients here who need their attention.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful, I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
Oh, not again.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reid.
You can trust
You
me.
can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities. My one and only concern is your health.
I guess I should thank you then.
Can I help
help
you in
you?
any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter still near the place where you tried to take your own life?
Yes.
She's
I
like...
don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that letter, then perhaps we'll talk.
Oh. I like it.
I have to go.
I'm all right. Don't
Good
waste
evening.
time with me.
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick.
Beatrice, okay.
But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
Yeah. It's like a really hot subject.
What can you tell me about
But
the recent commotion?
if you know anyone that
It's a disgrace. How on
has
earth
been
can
through
patients
some
be attacked
difficult
in their own
times and
rooms?
thought about things like that, man, just do something. Talk to them, help them, make them have a plan, have something, and man, even if they just like hate you and they live to hate you, that's good enough.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Because taking your own life can be really hard to deal when it's not talked. And people often just don't talk about
Good
it.
evening,
because I
Dr.
think it's a taboo.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reid. Can I be of any help?
Stay strong, friends.
Can you tell me anything about the recent commotion in the hospital?
I'm sure it was not your fault, Dr. Reid.
My fault? What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. It's just... I heard it was you who brought the murderer inside our walls. But you couldn't know, could you?
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Oh, okay.
I'm quite busy right now.
Just one more,
Dr.
then
Reid.
we'll...
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Nothing like this would have happened if we'd had enough staff and proper shifts.
So you don't think the blame is ours?
We all hold fast here, Dr. Reid. Our methods may differ, but we are all trying to make a difference.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Talking to everyone. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious where the body is. Just saying.
Oh, Jonathan. I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman. Butchered by some savage scowl.
Don't you dare. Can we share this meal?
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the scowl, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent, for there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
Have you embraced this woman, like the other patient, this Mr. Renfield?
Her name was Amelia. And no, I did not kill her. I vowed a very long time ago that I would never take another life, unless they ask.
Is there sufficient vitality in the blood of the sick and dying patients?
Yes, Jonathan. The hunger gnaws at me every waking hour. Frankly, I'm starving.
Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital. How can you resist?
Over the years, any pleasure I once gleaned from feeding is long gone. I drink for sustenance. And though I still thirst for more, I restrain myself.
That's hard.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He's huge.
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought
Here
he
we
was
go.
going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
Yes, sir.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Is this a sign? The hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon.
Makes some sense. Well, let's just talk to everyone about this so we don't have to spend any more time on the next episode about it.
Dr. Reid, any good news to share?
Can you tell me anything?
It's a tragedy, pure and simple. The hospital is meant to be a safe haven to all. We failed the people who trusted us with their...
Do you think I should not have brought Mr. Hampton back here?
It's not your fault. You rescued that poor soul. It was the Christian thing to do. But we should have noticed his instability.
But it was
Goodbye,
fine.
Dr. Tippett.
I talked to him before I even left.
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Someone killed Miss Jones in her room, and Mr. Hampton's gone missing. Doesn't take a genius to piece it together.
You don't seem shocked by any of this.
Why should I be? Whoever did this must be long gone by now. And besides, he got rid of the old bag.
Goodbye,
Well,
Milton.
Milton doesn't give two fucks about anyone except Pippa and himself.
Safer here than anywhere else in the East End.
Can I talk to you about it?
Hey, Doc.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
All I know is I ain't letting anyone rip my throat out in my sleep. I found myself a nice blade, Doc. I'm ready.
I'll leave you for now.
Please, I feel sick. Get over here now.
Yeah, okay. Talking to yourself, I see. Well, I think that's a huge episode already. I'm sorry, it's like 5 more minutes, but it's fine. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. If you did, comment, like and subscribe. And as always, my name is Corvo, and I hope you have a wonderful night.